Good morning. Welcome to Mondays with Marthie. Today I have a very special guest. He's part of my Stories of Hope. It's Quinton. They call him the shack builder. So he's going to tell you what he does and why he does it.
Good morning, Marthie, and good morning, listeners. And I'm looking forward to this conversation about shack building. I'm a psychologist by training, and I work for more than 10 to 15 years in informal settlements. And recently I've started to physically build shacks for people whose shacks have been destroyed in the winter and through the storms.
Not talking now, you're just walking.
Yeah, it's physically building. It is not just talking. I'm finished with talking. I think there's a lot of talk shops in South Africa and in the world, and a lot of people talk about solutions, but they don't execute and implement solutions. And I've identified a need in the informal settlement, and one of the biggest problems with informal settlements is that people are living in debilitated temporary dwellings or structures, which we in South Africa call a shack. And after the storm on the 7th of June, I saw how the shacks were destroyed because of the wind and the weather. And then I've decided to build physically a shack. And it was very interesting because you need to build a temporary structure, which I think is very, very important. And then I discovered something else during the shack building, and that was, it's almost that I entered the abyss of poverty. I saw more things, I experienced things, and I think one of the biggest shocks or discoveries while I was building was the fact that I discovered how the shacks become the playground for rats in the night.
Ooh. Rats are a challenge. But you also mentioned how important windows are.
Yeah, I think the biggest problem is I always told my students, because I'm a lecturer at one of the universities in the Western Cape, I said, you must smell poverty. There's a particular smell in that. And I couldn't really pinpoint where the smell came from. And then after I've entered the shack, and I realized there's no windows, there are windows, but you can't open it.
You can just see through it.
You can just see through it, yeah. So what we've have done and discovered is let's build a place where they can open their windows. Because if there's no ventilation, then that air will start to smell, and it's a terrible smell. That's besides the molding within, or the mold within the in the shack. And then especially during the winter, it's wet there, there's no ventilation, and you get all these different bacteria and insects and
Disease,
rats,
yeah.
and that ultimately cause disease within the shack. Yeah.
If you have any questions, you can type it and we can answer it. So, what is the biggest, what's the best part of what you're doing?
The best part of, I think, the entire process. I think there's a lot of talking out there, and I just go and I interview the people and I talk to them, and I talk to them regarding the challenges that they are facing in the shack. And then people open up. And the fact that I always believe it's the small things that will make a big impact. Nobody's really thinking about building a shack. Here and there, when the shacks are destroyed by fire, then people will start to build. But I'm building now 10 more shacks at the moment. And I think it's the entire process. And I think a beautiful part of the process is the fact that I'm using the people in the informal settlement to help build with me.
So they're also learning something.
Yeah, they're the experts. They know how to build a shack. I mean, I'm just the coordinator, and sometimes I need to hold a corrugated iron and help with the wood, and I must collect building material. And it's just, I think this is one of my most exciting projects that I've ever embarked on. And then, of course, when we finish with that, the excitement, the joy of the family, and especially the children. I can go there every time of the night, and the people will know where I am. And I feel very safe. It's a very dangerous place, the informal settlements. And I can just see the joy, and I think it is beyond words, it's beyond money, it's beyond everything. And I just love what I'm doing.
I was saying earlier that one day you can come and watch him build and then come and join.
Yeah.
So what is the biggest challenges you have at the moment?
I think, to be honest with you, transport, because this corrugated iron is 3 meters long. And I make use of other people's transport, and sometimes the buckets that they give me doesn't have the proper structure to carry the wood, and some people donate corrugated iron or zinc and long poles, and then we have problems with the transport. And so transport is the biggest, and then of course the physical material. It cost us about 8,500 rand to build a new shack with new material, because you can also build with second-hand material, but I think it looks better, and for me it is all
It's
about...
easier, you can get it done quite faster if you have new material.
Yeah, and also we build it according to their needs. You will get different sizes. If it's a big family of 14, then we will build a big one for 14 people with enough windows that you can open. And so yeah, it's quite interesting, and of course the physical material that we need. But I get the donations, but if people can help me with more donations, I would like to build new shacks for all the people living in informal settlements.
Yeah, and I think it gives opportunity for children and families to have dignity.
Yeah, it's all about restoring dignity. If you look at the conditions in which they live, the windows are open, the material is debilitated, it's broken windows. During the middle of winter, it's raining, it's flooding. And the new shacks that we have built, you won't see water in those shacks. And it restores human dignity. And people are really excited. But it's not only the excitement of the people that are moving into this new place, it's also the people around that see the hope and see that there are people caring for them.
Yeah.
And that's quite exciting. Yeah.
And even to see what it can look like to make it more safer for human use. So tell me, what do you see in your future? What would you like to happen?
What I would like to see is to build more shacks for people, and to, especially the windows, to make sure that they can open the windows and make it more livable for the people. Because I think all of them are waiting for houses, and housing projects are taking a lot of time and to implement. So if we can build solid, proper, informal settlements and build more shacks. This next phase is 10 shacks. After that, I will continue with another 20, and until I make sure that all the people, they have proper shacks. And also to inspire other people, because we always restricted to space and place. In South Africa, there are 1 million children living in informal settlements. There's about, I think, 600 informal settlements in South Africa. So the secondary objective is to inspire other people to go into informal settlements and to contribute and to rebuild what's happening. And we're doing a lot of roof replacements, because the biggest problem why there's water is because of the improper roof structure. So we will strip the roof, and then we will build a new roof for them, and then replace some of the windows. So some of them we physically rebuilt over, and some of them we just restore the infrastructure.
So where can people reach you?
People can reach me on Facebook, Quinton Adams, and then we will start a new page.
Yes, I convinced him.
The Shack Builder.
The Shack Builder. So you can go Google him. I'll post a link to his site.
Yeah.
And I must commend you. You're a hard worker and you're a walker, not just a talker.
Yeah.
And I hope that people will find hope in your story. And if you want to contribute or join in, just let me know. And if you have anybody that you want to suggest for Stories of Hope, this is how we do it, one person at a time. It's not big, it's not overwhelming. It's just one person and a family and the next family. And this is how we restore our world. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you very much. And I must tell you that it is challenging. One of the boys, 2-year-old, disabled boy, he passed away while the storm was... during the storm, and we had a funeral for him, and the family had no money. So it's not only about rebuilding shacks, it's about rebuilding lives of people living in informal settlements. Yeah.
Yeah.
So thank you very much.
It's a pleasure. Enjoy your day.